Hello you all, I'm Shell. Welcome to the channel. I just finished my first 6-month checkup with the oncologist. Let's pick up on what happened after surgery. I was out of work for about a month to recover. During that time, I had family and friends that brought food, and I am so thankful for that. My sister took care of me for maybe the first week or two. I was instructed to take Tylenol for the pain. If the Tylenol wasn't working, I was told I could use ibuprofen. However, they didn't really want me to use ibuprofen. So I was told to take the Norco. I'm scared of Norco. I'm scared of any drug that that they show people getting addicted to. So I definitely did not take the Norco. I was taking the Tylenol. In my opinion, Tylenol doesn't even work. So I probably didn't even take the Tylenol a lot. I roll with the punches. During this time, I was told to wear my tight bras that closed in the front. I was also told to put ice on the area where I got surgery and to get a lot of rest. I was able to get rest, but I do get cabin fever fairly quickly. I was told that I couldn't drive for at least a week, so I didn't drive anywhere. I tried to rest, but I did have to get up a little bit, move around, go for walks, stuff like that. I was also told not to use my right arm, which was very hard to do. My right arm, everything over here on the right side was in pain. I reached for the remote control, I went like this to reach back to grab the remote control from behind me, and immediately was in pain. You can't, when you can't use your dominant arm, it is hard. I had already started practicing, before I got the surgery. I started practicing using my left hand, for typing, for using the mouse, trying to write with it, which my signature is still terrible using my left hand. I am definitely not ambidextrous, but the surgeon had warned me before the surgery. She's like, you have to start using your left hand when you go to the bathroom. And oh my goodness, for women, if you're a woman, it is so hard to switch from your dominant hand to your non-dominant hand to do anything as simple as using the bathroom, like wiping. But that's what I had to do. I did everything I was supposed to do, but my breast swelled up so big, it was like a baby's head hanging off of my chest. And then I bent over to pick something up, and I could hear liquid sloshing around. That is not what I expected. I called the doctor. The doctor assured me that it was a seroma, and when I went to my appointment, she said that was the largest seroma she has ever seen. And I'm like, okay, this is just way too much weight on my chest. I have been putting the ice pack on it like they told me to, and the thing was still huge. I had saw that some people get drains put in, so I did request that. I'm like, can you put a drain in? Did I miss the appointment to schedule that, or was that something I was supposed to do? She's like, no. The reason she didn't want to put a drain in is because the drain opens it up to getting an infection easier. So she wanted to avoid getting an infection. Also, she said that when the fluid is drained out, there's still an open cavity. So the body will still create more fluid and put it in that area. So the best thing to do is to just let it shrink, let the body absorb it. And it took a while, but eventually the seroma did start to absorb. Now, even though my doctor told me to use ice pack, what I had saw online is that if you use a warm pack on the seroma, it helps it to absorb quicker. So I started switching out the ice pack and a heat pack. And that's when the seroma did start to shrink a little bit. Then the next step was for me to meet with the oncologist. I was expecting to have to do radiation because when I first got my consultation with the surgeon, she said, it looks like we could do the surgery and then I would need radiation. I wasn't expecting to have to do chemotherapy, even though she did say it was a possibility. When I met with the oncologist, I found out that I was triple negative, which, according to my oncologist, triple negative is not really a good thing. So they do 3 tests on you. to see why you got cancer. I had cancer not just in my breast, but they found some in one of my lymph nodes, which made my cancer stage 2. Because of this, I would need to get chemotherapy and radiation. I was told by the oncologist that I would need to take 8 rounds of one type of chemotherapy medication, and that would be every other week. And then I would take 12 more rounds of a different type of medication, get radiation. At the time, he was saying it would probably be between 6 and 8 weeks of radiation every day, 5 days a week. However, the pathologist would test the cells a couple more times just to make sure that what their readings was correct. I was given the side effects for both. The oncologist gave me all of the options and gave me his recommendation, and I don't know any other way to deal with cancer. So I had to think about, my family, specifically my son. That's my heart. And unfortunately, the year before, his father passed away. So I am his only parent. And so I went ahead and accepted the chemotherapy and the radiation that was recommended by the oncologist. Now, I know that this can be a hot topic because I know a lot of people want to do homeopathic or more research, or whatever other alternative medicine they want to do instead of the chemo and the radiation, especially when you see all of the side effects and everything that comes with taking those drugs or treatments. My choice at the time was to go ahead and do what the oncologist recommended, and it was not without side effects. But the fact that me and my son and my family and my friends have peace of mind that I did everything I could to make sure that this cancer doesn't come back, I'm at peace. One of my coworkers, when I told him that I was going to be out because of the breast cancer, he immediately started crying. And what I didn't know is that his mother had breast cancer. And what he told me was that she got the surgery. She did not want to do the treatments. And I don't remember all of the details, because one of the things I can tell you is that chemotherapy does cause a brain fog. It's called chemo brain. So while I am getting some of my memory back, it is coming a little slower, and I don't remember everything that I may have been told. I don't even remember details of some movies I've seen, but I know that part of it was that she didn't want to do chemo, or I think it was chemo, and eventually she ended up dying. He was very emotional because he felt like his mom did not do everything she could have done to ensure that she was going to stay alive. To ensure that she got rid of the cancer all throughout her body. So I did take that into consideration when it was time for me to decide if I was going to accept the chemotherapy or not. My mass was small. I didn't have to get chemotherapy to shrink it or radiation to shrink it and then get the surgery. I was able to get the surgery right away. After I had the surgery, I was technically cancer-free. However, with what the oncologist explained to me about chemotherapy is that chemo is like having car insurance. So cancerous cells found in my right breast, that was removed. The cancerous cells under my arm were removed, that were in my lymph nodes, that they found in my lymph nodes, those were removed. However, was there any more cancerous cells around the body? We don't know. Were there any cancerous cells that were undetected? We don't know. So chemotherapy is kind of like an insurance policy. This is how he explained it. When you get car insurance, you might not need the car insurance, but you pay for it anyway, just in case you have a car accident. And if you have a car accident, great, you have insurance. It can pay, it can pay out on the accident. If you don't have an accident, at least you had the insurance so that it would protect you if there was an accident. So that's how he explained the chemotherapy. There may not be any other cancer in my body. However, if there is some chemo or some cancerous cells in my body, in my breast, that they didn't find, then the chemo would kill it. And then with the radiation is like a backup plan. So it's like having two insurance policies with the chemo and the radiation. Anyone that has to go on this cancer journey has to decide what they want to do, how far they're willing to go, and if the side effects are worth it. In some situations, it might not be worth it, depending on your current health condition. For me, I went ahead and did it. Thank you for watching. That's all for now. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have something to add, please go ahead and leave a comment. I'd like to hear what you got to say. If there's any specific questions you have, go ahead and leave it in the comments also, and maybe I'll do another video to talk about it. Stay safe always, and God bless.